we go back to this case.
Where are we now? 7.
We are now Zayin Amud Bet.
Yeah.
Rabbi Yosef ben Moshe HaKohen Le'elu Nishmat. Yeah? Moshe ben Yosef or Yosef ben Moshe?
Yosef ben Moshe
HaKohen. Let me see if I get the other ones today, finally. Dvorah Fega Bat Shmuel. Menachem Mendel ben Elchanan.
and Shaya Simcha.
Shaya Simcha ben Menachem Mendel.
Shaya Aliyah.
Shaya Aliyah. This is Shom Shaya Aliyah. Rafur Shlem with Rachel Bat Chana. Gufa Amar Rav Gidl Amar Rav Chia. We're by the two dots, about 10 lines down. Right. Gufa Amar Rav Gidl Amar Rav Chia Bar Yosef Amar Rav. We learned this yesterday. Going back to this case, we want to speak about this case. Bayit she'en tocho yud. The kirui of... Sorry. Huh?
Yeah, I got the lesson.
What?
Crazy.
Which Rabbi him?
That's good.
Oh wow.
That's what to Rabbi.
First name to Rabbi Lipsker. L'chol. First name to Rabbi Lipsker. L'chol chayle am Yisrael. Kufu Amar Rav Gidol Amar Rav Chia Bar Yosef Amar Rav. Bayit she'en tocho yud v'kirui of mashlim el yud. You have a house that's not 10, and the roof completes its 10, which means from the outside the roof is thick 1, right? Let's just say, for example, how can you get the case? Inside it's 9, so it's not a Reshut Yachid in here. It's like a Karmelit. Outside the wall goes 10, so on the roof you're okay. Al gago mutur l'tatal b'kulo bitocho in mitatlan bo el bedal ramot. Remember that? Okay.
What does that mean?
On the roof, you let it carry as much as you want. We explained yesterday because the walls keep going up. They shoot up because there's a rule called Gud Asik. So on the roof, you're surrounded by walls. And why are you surrounded by walls? Because once you have a mechitza, a partition of 10, it keeps going up. And on the outside, there is a partition of 10. But inside, where there is no partition of 10, because it's cut off by the roof, so it's only 9 or 8 or 7 or less. There, the halacha is that you can't carry more than 4 amot, or less than 4 amot you can carry. Why? Because it's a karmelit. Okay, it's not a Reshut Yachid. Remember that? Fine. So now Abaye says a beautiful chidush. He says, Amar Abaye v'im chakak bo dalet al dalet v'hishtimu liyud mutar l'tatel b'kulo. Just imagine that this is the room. Okay, so it's only 9 tfachim over here. So if I dig out, I excavate an area that has domain status. What is the domain status? A real status 4 by 4. And I complete the height of the room now to 10. Let's say I was missing 1 tefach, so the excavation is 1 tefach. If it was only, let's say, 7 tvachim, so it was missing 3, so I excavate 3. The point is, I complete up to 10 in the middle of my room, and the excavation is 4 by 4. Now you created Reshut Yachid. So you're going to say to me, okay, you created Reshut Yachid for the excavated area, but on the sides, it's still not 10. No. You're permitted to carry in the whole room. You're like in a regular home. My timer. Because there's a new law. Rabotai, Mazal Tov, a new baby. Mazal Tov, we're all Zoche. Just had a new little baby. Born to us a new halakha. Every halakha is a baby. Okay? So, this is a baby boy. Amar Abaye. Okay? Ben Zachar. Okay? Brit next week. You ready? What's the halakha here? The halakha is that the holes of a wall of Reshut Yachid. A wall. You have a wall. New case. And the holes in the wall are used by the private domain. So the private domain, they use the wall as well, the little holes inside. They're able to be used by the private domain. So the holes in the wall become a private domain. They become Reshut HaYachid.
Why wouldn't it be if it's already inside the house? I don't understand what the chiddush here.
What's the chiddush?
You have a house, you have a crevice inside of a wall. It's part of inside the house. What's the problem?
Will you tell me? What's lacking in them? They're not a domain. They're 2 inches. They're this big. They have to be down 4x4. They're not a domain. They're part of the area over here. They are like, it's a wall, and inside the wall is a little inch.
In your house. So in the private domain.
Yeah, but what makes that in the private domain? It's not part of the floor. You're like wondering, this is, I don't know what he's talking about. It's in the house.
In a private domain, inside the house, you have a crevice inside of a wall. It's like you have and it's part of inside the house. You shouldn't be carrying. What's the problem? Am I missing something here?
You're saying every single part inside the home is surrounded by the wall.
Right. But inside of your own domain, you should be able to carry whenever you want. Or
Um,
you're not. I mean, since when are you not allowed to carry inside your own home?
You don't have SLM. Seemingly right where we're standing now.
No, okay. Are you saying to me that the house is... That's what I'm saying. There's something I'm not aware of. Is there something to this case that I don't...
well,
David, you understand the question?
Yeah, because the height of the ceilings are 10 feet.
Are we talking about a case like that?
Are we talking about holes in the floor?
no. Regular home, like you said, like this room.
Okay.
So what makes... So you're saying, what do you mean? It's inside. What do you mean it's inside? But it in order to be called Reshut HaYachid, you always have to be 4x4. Reshut HaYachid is not just indoors, surrounded by iron fences. You have to have So why is that 4x4? But what? Maybe it's its own little area. What makes it part of this domain of 4x4? It's its own little non-domain of 1 inch by 1 inch.
We're talking about a hole in the wall.
A hole in the wall.
Maybe it's not even shaykh to the domain because
It's not shaykh to the domain. He said it better than me. It's not shaykh means it's not applicable. It's not related. It's not connected to the domain. So the answer is you're right. You see, he doesn't see it because he's seeing the maskana. That's what Abai said to you. It's bottled to the domain. Since people in this domain use it, it's usable. Okay. I could put my keys in there, whatever it is. So now it becomes part of the domain, which means it comes out like you. But you have to. It's not just so simple, because it really doesn't have domain status.
So it's the same thing as the korah of the ceiling, though. We said the one lama, we can't use it downstairs, but on top of it, you're using the whole tent, so you could take it up on there.
Right.
Here, the same thing. The wall is already considered maybe the outside of it, and it's not part of the actual inside. The whole maybe the same concept of using the wall. The hole in the wall is for the outside. Meaning, because we're looking at the ceiling of the tekoah as not in the inside. You can't include that one tefach to be inside. Oh, it's one tefach high, even though it doesn't reach to the ceiling. But now it's to the gag. Same thing as the wall. We use the walls for the outside. It's bordering the inside. Maybe.
He's saying that once the wall he's saying once the wall is everything from the wall, but the wall itself is inside the wall. It's like they said you shouldn't touch the wall. Some shittas are machmir by the Kotel Maravi, right? Mm-hmm. Not to touch because in the walls already part of in the Kodesh. There's plenty that hold you could, but I'm just saying this concept. Saying the domain is from the inside of the wall. I think that's what I understood you saying. You hear what he's saying? He's saying the domain is from the inside of the walls inwards, but not the other way. That's not surrounded by a wall. No, but you could say to what you're saying, Amnon, that you have the rest of the wall that's helping you. The next part of the wall will be your wall for that area.
Okay, so
I think the answer is because it's not 4x4. That's the main reason. But the answer is, no, Abai says it works. Why does it work? Because it's used as the Reshut HaYachid. Meaning it's looked as one big domain. Okay, very nice. So what does that have to do with anything over here? So the Gemara says that This is also like that. You excavate, you can carry in the whole room. Why? Because outside of the excavation, right here on the, is like, right, which means like this. The walls out there that are 9 come together with my wall that's 1, and now when I stand in the excavated area, I am right now in the height of 10 that is surrounded. Everything outside of it is like a big hole in the wall. And I can use it. And therefore it's part of the domain.
That makes sense.
Good?
I'm trying to use the hole there to show the side, the hole there. I got it.
Gewaldig.
Gewaldig.
Okay, great. So that's why Abaya says that's all you have to do. Get a domain status excavated, which was mashlim. Okay. Anybody learned Sukkah here? The beginning of Sukkah? In Sukkah, there's a little bit of a similar case, but over there it says that the excavation has to be within 3 of the walls, so you have loved. Here we don't have to do that. Tosfot speaks out, because over there we got to get the schach lined up with the walls. That's a halacha of Sukkah. Here you don't need that. You just need to be in a confined area for Reshut Yechid. That's a top Tosfot, in very short. Okay, let's continue now. You ready? The itma chore Reshut Yachid ki Reshut Yachid damo. Because it was taught the holes in the wall of Reshut Yachid are like Reshut Yachid. Chore Reshut Rabim. What about if you have a wall that's standing by the edge of the Reshut Rabim, and there are holes towards the Reshut Rabim, and they are beneath 10 tefachim, so they can be part of the Reshut Rabim. So it's a machloket. Abaye Omer ki Reshut Rabim damu, just like by Chore Reshut Yachid ki Reshut Yachid. So the holes of the Reshut Rabim, the holes in the wall by Reshut Rabim are also part of Reshut Rabim. Rava Omer lav ki Reshut Rabim damu. Okay? Now, everybody agrees, okay, that if they're less than 3, the Rashba speaks out, even Rava's modeh, that it's batal because it goes to the ground. So it's between 3 and 10. Okay?
What's between 3 and 10?
These holes in the wall that is a wall of Reshut Rabim, the holes between 3 and 10, people could put their little things down there. And therefore, Abaya says they're like Reshut Rabim. Rava Omer, no, lav Reshut Rabim.
So what does he hold in?
So if they're 4x4, then they're a carmelit. And if they're not 4x4, patur, makom patur. Okay? So now, Amalei Rava le Abaya. Now we're going to see a little more about this. So Rava says to Abaya, L'didach te'amrit, chorei Reshut Rabim k'Reshut Rabim damo. You hold that the holes, even if they're not 4x4, are Reshut Rabim. Why? Because they become batel to everything else. Everybody's using them. So, why did Rav Dimi in the name of Rabbi Yochanan tell everybody? Do you remember the Braita that we had yesterday, the big long Braita? The Braita said, what's a Carmelit? Yam bika is tevanit, the Carmelit. So the Gemara says, they're all Carmelits. So the Gemara says, no, Carmelit is a new case. What's the new case? So Rav Dimi said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, it's these homes, that the floor of the home is now like being used by the Reshut Rabim. Remember we showed you the picture. But people don't like walking in that. They have to go off. If it gets very congested, they have no choice and they have to go in. So that area, you would think that it's a Reshut Rabim, perhaps, which is hard to understand. I told you the Svatem, the Chazon Ish ask. But Kamash Malon, that if that area is a Carmelit. Okay?
I don't like the word nook. I want to clarify that.
Which word?
Coming to nook. They use the word nook, which is a
in English?
Karen Zavit. Okay, it's only the
Like a nut.
A niche?
Basically, that little entrance. It's like the entry of the house.
Right.
That you're like if I'm raining, let's say you're walking home and you're raining, you want to go under a house quickly in the entryway.
Exactly.
You don't want to.
People will go there if it gets congested. So the Gemara says that's a Carmelit. So the Gemara is asking now, Rava says to Abaya, I thought the holes in the walls to put your keys, they're not even 4x4, are Rishut Rabim, because Chayr Rishut Harabim ki Rishut Rabim. So how could you call this a Carmelit? This is at least as good as a hole in the wall. People use this. So what's going on?
But that's the floor.
Oh, so what's the difference?
So
what's the difference? So what's the difference? Floor is better.
One is below 3 tefachim, and the other one goes from 3 and up.
This is you're saying you're making it worse for yourself, Michael. It's mamish part of the Rishut Rabim. It's below 3. How could you? This is not less than a hole in the wall. A hole in the wall is not even a status. It's nothing. It's a little hole. We're going to make that a reshut, a domain. Yeah, because people in the Rishut Rabim use it, so it's part of. It's accessible. It's part of. It's already batal. This for sure should be a Rishut Rabim. So the Gemara says, no. Here's the very key thing. Hatam lo nichet tashmishte. Hacha nichet tashmishte. Every 2 minutes, we become more infused with new yesodot, new foundations in halachot of hotzah. There, the wall, it starts off the other way. Lo nichet tashmishte, which means people don't like walking into that area. It takes
outside. The hatam is bringing down here.
Hatam is the case of the Carmelit case, which we have to stay up. That case, the Gemara is saying like this. So the Gemara is saying like this. There, people don't like using that area. What?
Hey, look at.
David, listen to me. In that area, nobody likes walking into that little area. So it's like, oi. It's like,
So you're going to put something there also?
No, you're not going to put things. The thing was that people use it, people walk there. When it gets congested, people go out of their way.
Okay.
So people groan.
Okay.
I'm giving you an example. They don't say that. Oi, traffic, right? We have to go in there. We have to go out of the way to continue. Why are they pushing us into this thing over here? So that's not Rishut Rabim. That's Carmelit. Because just because they do it, they don't want to. So it doesn't become part of the Rishut Rabim because it's right. It's its own little area. Just because the Rabbim go there, they don't want to use it. It's really not part of the Rabbim. But the holes in the wall, people are happy about that. They like using. They're speaking to a guy. They stop him in Rishut Rabim. They have a shmuz. They put down their thing in the hole. It's like great. It's like a cubby while you away travel. It's great. So therefore, they like to hide their things there while they go shopping. They put their things in that little thing. They come back. It's there. So the point is, that's why it becomes part of the Rishut Rabim. Okay?
Don't like it, Carmelit. You like it, Rishut Rabim.
Exactly. So Rava asked Abaye, how did the Gemara say that that's the case of Carmelit? That should be Rishut Rabim. So the Gemara is answering, because nobody likes using it. So it's not really part of the Rishut Rabim, Carmelit. Tanan. Now the Gemara is going to keep trying to find out proofs to Rava Abaye. Tanan. Hazorek arba amot bakotel lemala me'asar tvachim kizorek ba'avir. Lemata me'asar tvachim kizorek ba'aretz. If someone throws
A date. One of those.
exactly a fig, a date, so arba amot, ready? This is a Mishnah. This is a very famous Mishnah. We keep talking about it, and he throws it exactly arba amot. It doesn't say he needs to do any more, so it could be exactly 4 amot. 4 amot. Bakotel. Lamala me'asar tvachim kizorek ba'avir. If it's higher than 10 tvachim. So it's like you're throwing it in the air, even though it lands on the side of the wall, and it sticks onto it, because higher than 10 tefachim is not part of Rishut Rabim, and you're patur from the chatat. Lamata me'asar tefachim, lower than 10 tefachim. So there you have a problem, you're in Rishut Rabim, kizorek ba'aretz. It's like you threw it on the ground. So the Gemara asks, ve'avinam ba, and we asked later on Daf Kuf, Daf 100, my kizorek ba'aretz. What do you mean? What happens to an item? If you throw a ball exactly 4 amot and it hits the wall less than 10 tfachim, it doesn't land there. Where does it land? It bounces and it lands on the ground. So where does it actually get its landing? An inch within 4 amot. So you didn't make the 4 amot cut. Because you hit 4 amot, but it didn't land there. So that's why the Gemara answers, that's where we get the fig cake. The fig cakes were these fat, thick fig cakes that they dried, and they would cut them, and they were very sticky. So he's saying that the case is that you hit it against the wall, and you know where it actually, right there. So very good. It didn't bounce back. Okay, very, very sweet, nice thing. So what's wrong?
So you're saying it's stuck on the wall. If it would have fallen on the ground, it's not 4. If it's on the wall now, it might be a problem.
That is the problem. If the guy does it by mistake, he doesn't forget it's Shabbat.
Even because it's in 4 amot, but I thought it's your own wish.
No,
4 amot.
no. If it's 4 amot, exactly.
If it is 4 amot.
The Mishnah is talking about 4 amot. You did 4 amot.
That's out of your reshut already.
So that's the Isur of Rishut Rabim to go 4 amot, and he did 4 amot. The problem was that it's going to bounce back. It's going to be less than 4 amot. So the answer is no. He made the 4 amot because it sticks, right? If he gets warned, yeah. Or and if he does it willingly, even without being warned, it's karet. If he gets warned by Edim, it's karet. It's skila, it's stoned. But we just say chayav chatat. Usually we say chayav chatat. Fine. He did it inadvertently. The point is, Isur d'oraita. Whether you do it, it depends if you do it inadvertently or willingly. So the question is, if you Abaye say that the holes of the walls of Rishut Rabbin become part, since they're accessible and they're used by the rabbin, they become part of the rabbin. So why did he have to say, and say, the whole Mishnah there is a sticky item, and it stayed by the 4. He could have said a beautiful answer. You threw it at the wall and it landed in the hole of the wall. You took an item that's not sticky, okay, a pebble or an item, and it fell into a hole. So now you're chayav. Why are you chayav? Because the holes of the Rishut Rabim, of the walls of the Rishut Rabim are like Rishut Rabim. So Ravai is proving to Abaye that the holes of a wall of Rishut Rabim are not Rishut Rabim.
Meaning, I have a question. If you would have thrown, let's say, hypothetically speaking, a fig.
Right.
Even a fig, let's call it a fig, whatever. And it falls inside of that hole of that wall.
Yeah.
You threw a 4 amot.
Right.
You're still liable.
According to Abaye, you should be liable. According to Rava, you won't be liable. Rava said the holes of Rishut Rabim are not. So he's proving it. He's saying, why did Rabbi Yochanan, the earliest Amoraim, have to consult, all the way, he had to say some interesting teretz. It's a devela. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows through the whole Shabbat. Everybody knows the case of hitting the wall 4 amot away is the sticky item. Why? Why sticky item? Just a regular thing. You hit the wall and it went in. A little pebble, just a lot of times it gets stuck in the thing. So obviously you see that the holes of a wall of Rishut Rabim are not part of the Rishut Rabim.
Correct.
So the Gemara says, okay. Sometimes Abaye would answer this kasha by saying, look, the reason why he didn't want to say that is because many times if you throw a hard item, a non-sticky item, sometimes it'll be lucky, but the normal case, a lot of times, it will bounce back. You're not going to get it perfect and get it in the hole. It's not so common. That's why Rabbi Yochanan didn't want to say it's any item and it went to a hole. He could have. But he didn't want to do that because it's not as common that it will happen. So he took something that's safe. That's why. He's not sweating through this kasha. So he says, I don't have a problem with this kasha. And sometimes he used to answer that the reason why Rabbi Yochanan didn't say this is because the wall of this Mishnah doesn't have any holes. It was like a solid wall. No holes. And that's why he couldn't say the answer. Now, why not just say that it has a hole? I'll tell you why. Mimai. So Abaye would when he would answer it like that, he would prove that the case was no holes. From where? So now Abaye is proving his answer. the way he would answer is periodically. Sometimes he would answer like this. Midiktoni Reisha. The Reisha it says, Zarak l'mala me'asar tvachim kizorek ba'avir. It says there in the Reisha, if you throw an item higher than 10 tvachim, which hits the wall higher than 10 tvachim, it's like a makom p'tur. If you're telling me that this whole Mishnah, the Mishnah is one case, right? You can't differentiate. The Mishnah is Reisha and the Sefer, one case. It says, a wall, if you do it higher than 10 on the wall, on the side of the wall, patur, because it's makom patur. If you do it within 3 to 10, shutabim chayav. It's the same case. You can't say one you hit the hole and one you didn't. It means in the same case. So why? So higher than 10. Why is it gonna be like zorek ba'avir? And your patur. You know what should happen, Rabbatai? Where did you throw it? You threw it into a hole. If you're telling me that the case is a hole, so then the case when you hit higher than 10 is also a hole. So if you hit a hole, what happens if you hit a hole inside a wall? If the hole is 4 by 4 tfachim, so it's a Reshut HaYachid higher than 10. What happens if you're in the Reshut HaBim and you build something higher than 10 that's 4 by 4? It's a Reshut HaYachid that's surrounded. A hole in a wall is surrounded by 3 sides. Okay? And it's 4 by 4. So how could you say, oh, you're patur? You threw it in the hole. What do you mean you threw it in the hole? You threw it in the hole of 4 by 4. And you were in a Reshut Rabim. That's Reshut Rabim. You should be chayav chatat. How can the Mishnah say that? So what are you going to answer? Wait 1 second. Before that, you're going to say, no, come on. It wasn't 4 by 4. It's a little hole. 4 by 4 means 4 inches is a tefach. So it's 16 inches by 16 inches. It wasn't such a big hole. So you're going to say, no. What are you talking about? It's not 4 by 4. It's an amazing concept. Rabbatai, every moment is a new concept. Listen to this. Let me tell you outside and then we'll read it inside. If you have an entrance that's 10 tfachim high and 4 tfachim wide, you're chayav in mezuzah. Okay?
Chayav mezuzah, right? You have to put a mezuzah on your doorway.
Exactly. But sorry. It's Sunday morning, Rabbatai. I'm not so good at this. Chayav mezuzah, you're obligated to place that great mezuzah on the doorpost. It's 4 tfachim handbreadths wide and 10 tfachim handbreadths high. Okay? Now what happens if the area where you have to put the mezuzah doesn't make the cut? Because the bottom of the doorway is 4 tfachim. It goes like this, and there's an arch. And it gets narrower on the top, like we find in all the ancient cities, especially Jerusalem, right? All the time, these types of entranceways, the stone entranceways. So the halakha is like this. So you say 1 second. It's not right over here where I want to put the mezuzah, where I have to put the mezuzah. It's not 4 tfachim wide.
Picture here.
Yeah. Picture here. Have the picture? Can I show them the picture? To Amnon.
Yeah, this gap is missing.
4 tefachim is pretty small for a doorway, no?
Mm-hmm.
Very rare case.
Yeah, it's small. Yeah. Just to be able to get through, right? So Rabbi Meir says it doesn't matter because that since there's thick wall on the other side of it, this arch, and you're able to excavate and widen the area of the mezuzah, so we look at it as if it's excavated already. You're ready, you began, this is the beginning, this entranceway, and you're able to chokekin lahashtem, because the bottom is like that, so you just see the bottom going all the way up straight. We'll cut it out. It has it in it. That's what he holds. That's what Meir Shita. He says you're chayav in mezuzah. We don't look at it like it's excavated. So it's patur for mezuzah. So therefore, what would be here? You throw an item, ready, into the wall of Reshut Rabim, into a hole you threw it into higher than 10 tefachim. What did the Mishnah say? You're patur. Why are you patur? Because you're higher than 10 tefachim, so you're not in a Reshut Rabim, you're in a makom patur. Says Abaye, 1 second. Who is this Mishnah? And Daf Kuf. A normal Mishnah is who? Which opinion is a normal Mishnah? And the rule is, a regular Mishnah doesn't say it's Rabbi Meir. Okay? It's Rabbi Meir. Stam Mishnah, Rabbi Meir. A closed Mishnah doesn't say who it is Rabbi Meir. So if it's Rabbi Meir, what does Rabbi Meir hold? Rabbi Meir holds that every hole that has room to be widened is looked like it's widened. Every hole that can be widened, has room to be made larger, because there's more wall to excavate, is rendered, is viewed as if it was. So when you throw that, the Mishnah says, higher than 10 tefachim, patur. So the Gemara Abaye asked the question, he says, why are you patur? You threw it into a hole. That hole is a Reshut HaYachid. It's surrounded, it's higher than 10, it's surrounded by walls. So it's 4x4. So the Gemara says, no, maybe it's not 4x4. Doesn't matter. You can excavate it to 4x4. So it is 4x4. So it should have a halachic status as a private domain, a Reshut HaYachid. And you should be chayav. So because it's Rameir. Rameir is a Stam Mishnah. So therefore, the only way out is by saying that this Mishnah is talking about a solid wall, that there are no holes. Because if there are holes, you have a problem with the Reish at the beginning of the Mishnah that says you're patur. You should say you're chayav because you should be yachid. So the Gemara says, because it says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda says in Rabbi Chia, if you throw it into a hole higher than 10 tefachim and it lands in a hole that's the size of anything, you arrive at the machloket between Meir and Rabbanan. The Rabbi Meir said, you look at it like you excavated. So you have to say it's a wall that doesn't have a hole. Now, if the Mishnah is talking about a wall that doesn't have a hole, Abaye gets out of Rava's kasha. That's the way Abaye used to answer Rava's kasha. Again, what was Rava's kasha to Abaye? I just want to repeat quickly. Amon, what was Rava's kasha to Abaye? He said if you hold that the holes of Reshut Rabim, walls, are part of the Reshut Rabim, so why are you going to be patur? So he asked him, why do you need to talk about a sticky date? Right? Why do you need to speak about a sticky date in this Mishnah when it said that you throw it less than 10 tefachim? You're chayav because the date stuck onto the wall. That was less than 10 tefachim and it didn't bounce back. Why can't you just say, there's another way that it landed for and didn't bounce back? It landed in the hole. So sometimes Abaye would say that he didn't want to make it because usually he doesn't want to land in the hole. But sometimes he says, this Mishnah is not talking about a hole. And I'll prove it to you. Because if it was, then you'll have problems in the beginning of the Mishnah when it says that you're patur when you throw it higher than 10. Isn't that beautiful? So that's how he answered it. Shema mina. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
For the choketim nashlim, you can't bring that into the Mishnah that we learned before about doing the one more tefach in the ground. You just put a little hole. It's slowly to be excavated more. I need 10 tefachim magoba. There is a hole. Roi lashlim. Choketim nashlim. Can you use that concept for there? According to the Meir.
That's a beautiful kasha. I don't know the answer to that kasha. I don't know if the quick answer, which might be the true answer, is that I don't think we pass like Rabbi Meir. So here we're just saying that Mishnah was Rabbi Meir, so therefore you have to work with Rabbi Meir. But in halacha of Abaye had to say halacha, we don't go like that. That's why you had to make it 4x4. It's a great kasha, mamish. Now I'm wondering maybe if there's a way out even for a mayor, but I think that would suffice. It's a gewaldige kasha. If anybody has the answer to that kasha, they should call Amnon. Gufa, Amar Rav Chizda. No atzkonu b'shut yachid v'zerak v'nachal gaba v'afilu gavoya meya am chayav. We had this Gemara before. We're starting a new little topic here. David, it's a beautiful new topic. This topic will change your whole life. Your entire life will change. Because before this topic, you were a man without this topic, and now you're going to be a Jew with this piece of Torah, piece of Hashem, right here. Rav Chizda says, if you stick in a reed, it's very high, and you throw from the Reshut Rabim, and it lands on this reed, afilu gavoa mea ama chayav. Even if it's 100 amot high, you chayav. Why? If they should have shut yachid ole adrakia. It goes up to heavens. The private domain is up to heavens. Okay. So the Gemara says, Leimer Rav Chizda da Amar Kerabi. Let's say that Rav Chizda holds like Rabbi. Titanya, Zarak v'nachal gabi ziz kol shehu. If you have a little thing sticking out of a wall, we had this before, and the item lands on that little thing that's the bolt, this, I don't know what the word is, like a little it's jutting out of the wall, a little pipe or anything. So Rabbi says, Yechayav, Chachamim say patur. Now, what's going on over here? It doesn't have 4x4. And neither does this reed that Rav Chizda spoke about. So it's very nice that it's in your backyard, and the backyard goes up to the heavens, but it didn't land on something by 4x4. So we see over here, some take that out, some don't. But the point is that Rabbi seemingly holds you don't need to land on an area that's 4x4. Okay? So it must be that Rav Chizda went like that as well. So the Gemara says, Amar Abaye, Peshuta Yachid de Kuli Amalo Pligi, Kid Rav Chizda. Okay? We're going to go with the one pshat and Rashi over here. In Reshut Yachid, everyone agrees, does not argue. Okay? Everyone goes like Rav Chizda. It's a one guess in Rashi. That what? That even if it's not 4x4, you're chayav in Reshut Yachid. Okay? Okay, so let me just backtrack for a second. We have Rav Chizda. Rav Chizda says if you stick in a reed into your Reshut Yachid and you throw something from Reshut Rabim onto it, you're chayav. We want to relegate Rav Chizda's opinion specifically to Rabbi and not to Chachamim. Because Rabbi is the one that says that if you throw something from Reshut Rabim onto this like pipe that's sticking out of the home, which is part of so then you're chayav, but the Chachamim say you're not because it's not 4x4. Right? So you say, oh, Rav Chizda, you must be going like Rabbi and not like the Chachamim. That's what the Gemara is trying to say. Okay? So the Gemara is saying like this. No. Everyone agrees that when it comes to a private domain, you don't need 4x4. So why did Rabbi and the Chachamim have a machloket about it? So the Gemara is saying like this. The case over there with Rabbi and Chachamim was speaking about a tree that was in Reshut Yachid, and its leaves, its branches were spreading out into Reshut Rabim. Vizarak, and the person threw from Reshut Rabim, v'noch hanofo, and it landed on the branch. The branch is what the Mishnah there calls the ziz. But it was really a branch in the Breita. Now, the branch doesn't have 4x4. But the branch, if you follow the branch, its base is the trunk of the tree, which is 4x4. So the Rabbi Savar Amrinan Shteina 4 Batari Karo. They say you go after the Ikar.
What's Ikar?
You go after the base. The base of this branch, the foundation of this branch is something that is 4x4. And therefore, the branch is like the private domain. Since the base of the branch is a private domain, it's Reshut Yachid. And therefore, if you throw it on top of the branch, you're going to be Chayav. Why? Because you're throwing from Reshut Rabim onto Reshut Yachid. Okay?
That's like the same case with the house that had an extension piece.
That is the case, they're right. We don't throw the branch after its base. And therefore, it's wherever it is. So even though its foundation is, its base is in Reshut Yachid, it isn't. And therefore, it's Reshut Rabim, and since the item is not 4x4, you're patur. Okay.
Wait, what was the last? Say the last part. Why not patur all of a sudden?
Therefore, you are patur according to the Rabbanan because the trunk and the base are two separate things. Okay. Fine. Now the Gemara says a very interesting thing. Amar Abaye, Zarak kaveret l'shut rabim, givoa asara. I'm thinking maybe to leave this for later today, or not.
We're supposed to be on 10 today?
Yeah.
Or do we get a mincha?
I feel like we're going to get to Tet today. Not the whole Tet, but we're going to get into Tet Bezrat Hashem.
We're doing it before mincha?
5:15 to 6:15, right? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to do 5 to 6 maybe?
Doesn't matter to me already.
Or 5 to 6:15? An hour and 15 minutes?
5, yeah, one down. Sunday, fun day.
Okay. More Torah later. Okay. Bezrat Hashem.
5 o'clock today.
5 o'clock.